You know the sound?
Yeah.
That's that jarring morning alarm.
Oh, yeah. The absolute worst.
It's just this brutal transition, right? From the sanctuary of your dreams straight into the machinery of reality. So welcome to today's deep dive.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to get into this.
Me too, because our source today might seem incredibly simple on the surface. It's just an English language learning transcript covering the topic of, well, daily routines.
Right, which sounds super basic, like textbook material.
Exactly. But our mission today is to show you how this basic functional text actually serves as this devastatingly accurate sociological blueprint of modern survival. We're going to extract the hidden truths about how we structure our lives, how we fuel our bodies, and how we articulate our own exhaustion.
It's a brilliant text to examine because in order to teach the language of daily life, it has to perfectly mimic the reality of daily life, you know? It strips away all our pretenses. It shows us not who we wish we were, but exactly how we spend our time on this earth.
Okay, let's unpack this. Before we get into the heavy sociological stuff, I want you, the listener, to just think about your own morning for a second. When that alarm goes off, are you someone who leaps out of bed, stretches, and attacks the day?
Or do you hit snooze?
Right. Do you dread the commute and immediately start scrolling on your phone? Because right away, our text presents us with two completely contrasting archetypes in our dialogue speakers. We have Alex and we have Olivia.
And they really represent the two fundamental ways humans approach consciousness. We see that contrast immediately in their very first waking moments.
For sure. Alex is, well, he represents active physical engagement, right? He wakes up early at 6:30.
Yeah, but it's not just the time he wakes up, it's the mechanism. He turns off the alarm, he physically stretches his body, and then he washes his face with cold water.
Cold water, just right to the face.
Exactly. He is essentially weaponizing temperature to shock his nervous system into the workday.
Which is intense. And then, on the completely other end of the spectrum, there's Olivia. She wakes up at 7, and she literally tells Alex she just loves sleeping.
I mean, who doesn't?
Right. But the very first thing she does when she opens her eyes, she grabs her phone. She checks her phone. And I really have to push back on Olivia's logic here.
Oh yeah, how so?
Because later in the dialogue, she claims that her absolute favorite part of the morning is the quiet time. She says she loves how peaceful the house is, but, I mean, if the very first thing you do before your feet even hit the floor is grab your phone, aren't you instantly ruining that peace?
You're inviting the whole world in.
Exactly. You're inviting all that noise, the emails, the news, straight into your bed.
It's a glaring contradiction, for sure, but it's also a deeply human one. What's fascinating here is how the dialogue subtly reveals the friction between our idealized mornings and our actual, deeply ingrained behavioral reflexes.
Oh, that's a good point.
Olivia desires the quiet, yet her reflex is to connect to the noise. And the text is validating this modern reflex. Alex even tells her, you know, many people do that.
And Olivia's like, yes, it is a normal thing. They are totally normalizing the digital intrusion. But, to her credit, she isn't completely helpless against her own habits. She confesses that she sometimes has trouble waking up, so she employs this trick she learned online.
Putting her phone far away from the bed.
Yes. I loved this detail. It's like setting a psychological booby trap for your own laziness. You know your future self is going to want to stay in bed, so your present self rigs the room to force you to stand up to turn it off.
It is a brilliant, almost desperate strategy, and it speaks to the broader optimization strategies we all use to guard our time. The text is packed with these little micro-habits.
Like what else?
Well, for example, they discuss choosing clothes the night before. They talk about their casual office uniforms, like Olivia is in jeans and a shirt, Alex is in pants and a shirt to a casual, tie-free office.
Just removing the decision-making process entirely.
Exactly. But the optimization goes even deeper than the wardrobe. Alex talks about the profound stress of forgetting his keys and losing time going back for them.
Oh, man, the worst feeling.
Right. And Olivia mentions forgetting her lunch, which forces her to buy expensive food near the office. To combat this, she has developed a rigid system. She checks her bag every single night.
So she is front-loading the effort. She's doing the work at night so morning Olivia doesn't have to suffer. Whichever camp you, the listener, fall into, whether you're an active early riser like Alex or a phone-scrolling, alarm booby-trapping Olivia, you'll notice that this desperate need for morning efficiency trickles down into every single choice we make.
Absolutely. I mean, it even extends to the bathroom. Both of them brush their teeth first thing, but Olivia uses an electric toothbrush.
Right, and Alex points out that it's faster.
And Olivia specifically adds that it's not cheap. They are literally investing capital into shaving seconds off their morning routine.
That is so true.
But the real dividing line in their architectural approach to the day is the shower. Alex showers in the morning to feel awake. Olivia showers at night because she says it helps her sleep.
Wait, I'm slightly confused by the framing of that. Earlier you mentioned Alex weaponizing temperature with the cold water, and now we're looking at showering as this highly calculated move. Are you saying taking a hot shower at night is a conscious, calculated manipulation of the body? Or is it just a basic biological comfort? Because calling it manipulation makes it sound almost sinister.
Well, it doesn't have to be sinister to be manipulative. Think about it functionally. We are essentially forcing our biology to align with an artificial clock.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Alex is using water temperature and the physical stimulation of the shower as an accelerant and transition into the public sphere. Olivia is using the thermal drop after a warm shower as a sedative to transition out of it. It's a deliberate external intervention to regulate their internal states.
Wow, okay, that makes total sense. We're basically playing mad scientists with their own bodies just to get out the front door. And look at how they fuel and transport themselves once they do leave the house. They're utilizing completely different mechanisms to survive the morning commute.
Yeah, though they both agree that skipping breakfast is a terrible idea, they know they need the energy.
But look at the delivery systems. The contrast in their fuel is stark. Alex eats at 7-0, and he relies on fast, high-impact energy. He has toast, eggs, and sweet coffee with milk and sugar.
Whereas Olivia eats a bit later at 7:30 and opts for sustained, slow-release energy. She goes for healthy cereal, fruit, and coffee with milk, but crucially, no sugar.
But the undeniable unifier here is the coffee. Olivia says she needs it. Alex says it's important. It is the universally agreed upon baseline fuel for the modern worker.
Oh, 100%.
And they really need that fuel because by 8.00 or 8.15, they are joining the mass migration of the morning commute. And again, their mechanisms for surviving this transit are entirely different. Alex takes Subway Line 2.
Right, which is a fast 20-minute trip. And to cope with the high stimulation environment, he just leans into it. He listens to upbeat pop music to make the time move faster.
While Olivia's approach is the exact opposite. She takes bus 12. It's a slower 30-minute commute, and she specifically notes that it's crowded with many commuters. Instead of matching that chaotic energy, she insulates herself.
Yeah, she listens to soft music through headphones and reads simple books. She is actively lowering her cognitive load to preserve her energy for the office.
They're both creating these tiny armored bubbles of privacy while completely surrounded by crowds of strangers, all hurtling toward the exact same destination. And then they arrive. 9 a.m. The workday begins. And what is the absolute very first task they both face?
Checking their emails.
They check their emails. And it's not just a quick check. Olivia says she has many emails. Alex replies, "Me too. I have too many." Olivia just sighs and says, "It is part of the job."
It's a shared burden. They have just arrived, they have just survived the commute, and immediately they are buried under the digital demands of other people.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Because there is a massive contradiction running through this entire conversation. Both Alex and Olivia actively praise the concept of their routine. Olivia literally says, routines make life simple.
And Alex agrees that a routine is helpful.
Exactly. They talk about it like it's this wonderful, comforting structure. But then, almost in the same breath, they constantly talk about how exhausted they are.
Right, the complaints just pile up.
They complain about how hard it is to wake up, how slow they feel on a busy Monday morning, how overwhelming the emails are, and how hard the afternoon is. Like after their 12-4 of any lunch, Alex packs his. Olivia buys healthy salads or sandwiches. Alex asks if she feels sleepy.
And she admits she does.
And Alex says the afternoon is hard. So I have to ask, is this daily routine actually giving them energy and purpose, or is it just a coping mechanism helping them survive a fundamentally unnatural, exhausting structure?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what the text is really capturing is the collision between human biology and industrial capitalism.
Oh, man.
We are biological organisms. We operate on circadian rhythms, which have natural peaks and deep valleys. But we are trying to fit those natural rhythms into a rigid, non-negotiable spreadsheet that demands constant productivity from 9.00 to 5.0. Because the schedule doesn't bend to our biology, we have to bend our biology to the schedule.
So the routine isn't the schedule itself. The routine is the medicine we take to survive the schedule.
Exactly. The text meticulously documents these interventions. When Alex hits the morning grogginess, he intervenes with cold water. When they hit that 10:30 a.m. slump, they take a break, and Alex intervenes with a second cup of coffee.
Tea, yeah.
Right. And when Olivia hits the afternoon sleepiness, she intentionally drinks water to force herself to feel awake. And to recover from the psychological toll of the whole ordeal, she mandates a 30-minute fast walk in the evening to, as she says, feel better. The routine is a precise administration of stimulants, hydration, and movement required to prop up the worker through the 8-hour grind.
That is slightly terrifying, but, incredibly accurate. We are just managing our own internal chemistry to make it to 6 p.m. But surviving the day physically is only half the battle. To truly fit into this modern workforce, Alex and Olivia have to know how to perform this routine linguistically.
Which is where things take a really fascinating turn.
Right. Because this is where the source material shifts from a behavioral study into a deep dive on how we actually articulate our existence.
It asks a really profound question. What is the grammatical scaffolding we use to describe our daily lives to other people?
And the distinctions the text teaches are surprisingly philosophical. Like, take the difference between wake up and get up. Olivia explains that wake up means to open your eyes and stop sleeping. It's purely biological. It is the return of consciousness.
The get up means to physically stand up from the bed. It is the moment you actually submit to the demands of the day.
The gap between those two verbs is where the psychological bottle of the morning is fought. You can be awake without being up. You can be conscious without participating.
Oh, that's a great way to put it. And then the text moves into the underlying philosophy of the grammar itself. To talk about daily routines, it locks the learner into the present simple tense. I wake up, she drinks coffee, he commutes.
We're not going to do a whole middle school grammar review here, but
Yeah.
think about what that tense actually implies. The text teaches adding esers for third person, like she brushes, he drinks. And the present simple is used for things that are generally true, habits that repeat.
It linguistically traps the actions in a perpetual cycle. When you say she drinks coffee, it isn't an isolated event. It implies infinity. Every single day she drinks coffee. Every single day she takes the bus. The grammar itself conveys the inescapable loop of the 9 to 5. It never ends.
It's the language of a hamster wheel.
It really is.
But it gets even more fascinating when they introduce the past simple for finished actions. Things that are over, like I woke up at 6 or she took a shower. And this is where the English language reveals a lot about human history. The text points out that for our most common foundational daily actions, we rely on irregular past tense verbs.
This is a crucial insight into language evolution. The actions we perform the most often, the ones most vital to our survival, are the ones that resist standardization. They are the oldest words in our linguistic toolkit.
Right, we don't say waked, we say woke. We don't say getted, we say got. We took a shower, we had breakfast, we left home. Meanwhile, a slightly less foundational or maybe newer action gets to follow the rules, like brushing your teeth. Brushed is regular, you just add the ed.
Exactly. But the core survival actions, waking, getting, taking, having, leaving, they demand that you just memorize their weird ancient shapes.
Because they have been spoken millions of times over thousands of years, long before anyone tried to write down a grammatical rulebook, they are worn smooth like river stones.
The text also focuses heavily on pronunciation and how we categorize time itself. It gives really specific pronunciation tips, like emphasizing the syllables. Routine, breakfast, shower.
Yeah, the phonetic spelling is so helpful for learners.
And it gives strict boundaries for the passage of time. Morning is defined as sunrise to 12:00, afternoon is 12:00 to 6:00, evening is 6 to night, and night is defined simply and beautifully as sleep time.
It boxes up the chaotic human experience so neatly. But my absolute favorite part of the linguistic breakdown was the section on adverbs of frequency.
Oh, yes. That part is great.
The text lists them out with mathematical precision to teach learners how to measure their own consistency. Always means 100% of the time, usually means most of the time, often means many times, sometimes means not every day, and never means 0% of the time.
It provides the vocabulary to self-report our habits.
I look at these adverbs of frequency like a giant mixing desk or like a soundboard for your life.
Yeah.
You, as the operator, are constantly sliding the faders up and down depending on the habit. Olivia slides the fader all the way up to 100% when she says, I always brush my teeth first.
And Alex slides the fader all the way down to 0% when he says, I never skip breakfast.
Right.
This raises an important question. how accurately do we actually self-report those frequencies? The gap between the idealized self and the actual self is often massive. We might tell people we always pack a healthy lunch, but in reality, it's really a sometimes.
That is so true. We lie to ourselves.
And the text actually forces the learner to practice this self-reporting through a role-play exercise at the very end.
Yes. Alex pretends to be a new employee, and Olivia pretends to be a coworker. Alex asks her about her morning, and Olivia replies using the precise tools they just learned. She says, I always brush my teeth first, then I take a shower, then I have breakfast.
It's basically a rehearsal for small talk. It proves that mastering a language isn't just about knowing vocabulary words or verb conjugations. It requires the ability to mimic real-life workplace interactions. To be considered fluent, you have to be able to seamlessly engage in this specific type of mundane, water cooler conversation.
You have to be able to perform the routine vocally as well as physically. It's not enough to just quietly live your life. You have to be able to report your habits to your colleagues to prove you are a functioning, assimilated member of the office ecosystem.
Look at me, I commute, I drink coffee, I experience the afternoon slump, just like you.
And that shared reporting builds necessary camaraderie. Commiserating over the 30-minute crowded bus ride or the endless barrage of morning emails is how workers bond. It's how we signal to each other that we are all in the same exhausting boat. Okay, we've covered a massive amount of ground today. We started with the physical architecture of waking up, like the contrast between Alex's cold water shocks and Olivia's psychological booby traps. We explored how we use coffee, transit bubbles, and hydration as physical and chemical interventions to survive the fundamental clash between our natural biology and the rigid industrial schedule.
The 9 to 5 grind.
Exactly. And finally, we looked at the grammatical scaffolding we use to trap these actions in perpetual cycles, utilizing ancient irregular verbs and adverbs of frequency to perform our routines for our peers. So what does this all mean?
It means that a daily routine is never just a harmless list of tasks. It is a highly evolved, deeply personal, and sometimes desperate system of survival and optimization.
And it requires constant maintenance. So listener, I challenge you today to evaluate your own adverbs of frequency. Look at the soundboard of your life. What are you doing 100% of the time? What are you sliding up to always? And what are you keeping at 0%?
That's a really good question to ask yourself.
Are those faders set where you actually want them to be? Or have they just slipped into place by accident over years of sheer exhaustion?
And I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder based on a specific detail from the text. Both Alex and Olivia agree that the absolute best part of the morning is the quiet time drinking coffee in complete silence before the day begins.
Right.
If the quiet, solitary moments are universally agreed upon as the peak of our day, what does that say about the 8 hours of busy, email-filled, crowded commute collaboration we put ourselves through right afterward?
Wow. That's dark, but so true. It's a cultural indoctrination.
Precisely. If this is the foundational text for assimilation, it implies that true fluency isn't just about knowing how to conjugate verbs. True fluency is about adopting the exhaustion, the stress, and the coping mechanisms of the modern worker as a universal culture. To speak the language natively, you must also learn how to share in the collective trauma of the 9 to 5.
The language of survival is universal. And apparently, so is the afternoon slump. Understanding the machinery of that routine might just make it a little bit easier to navigate tomorrow morning when that alarm goes off. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure exploring this with you.
Keep questioning the routine, and we'll see you next time.